Hello and welcome back to Morsels and Motors. In this video we're going to be looking at the green car, the Volvo 345 1981, and doing one little job on it that would transform it, hopefully, and that is to replace this very worn and slightly destroyed driver's seat. Replace, I hear you say? Yes indeed. I was very lucky enough to, on my recent trip to the Netherlands, go to a Volvo 340 parts supplier who happened to have a Dutch passenger seat in exactly the right colour. So that is excellent news. So I need to replace it. However, it is not sadly as simple as that, and I shall explain. And here we have the replacement seat, and the reason why it's not quite so straightforward is that this seat, although it looks the same, is actually from a Volvo 66 rather than a 340. That means that both the frame on the bottom where it fixes to the car is different, and also of course the fact that it is actually a tilting seat, because the 66 was a 3-door. I think what I need to do is take my seat out of the car, dismantle it, and then essentially fit this seat to the frame of my seat. So let's get cracking. One seat. And here we are. I've come inside because I have the luxury of being able to be inside, because it's a job I can do indoors, because I can take the bits out of the car. And here are the two seats side by side. You can see my very faded and slightly destroyed original one, which has a different sort of frame, and that's the 66 seat there next to it. They do look very slightly different colour, but they really aren't. It is only because this one has faded more around here. It's become slightly sort of purple in parts, and that one hasn't. That one really is in very good condition. It's very unworn because it's a Dutch passenger seat, of course. That makes a difference. That's got a black headrest, that's got a brown one, so we need to swap those over. Just to show as well, that is obviously my seat, the 345, which has just got a roller there, and whereas this is from the 3-door, it's got the little catch there, so the seat can topple forwards. So yeah, we need to use the metal frame from my seat and all the kind of body from this seat. The only issue is this bit here is obviously going to create a hole in that vinyl, which isn't needed on the seat for the 345. So I don't quite know what to do. I should, if I was being really fussy about it, remove this vinyl panel, unstitch it, and stitch my vinyl panel in it instead. But I don't know. I'm going to see what condition it is underneath, and maybe I do need to do that, which makes it into a bigger job. I shall have a look, because it might be that the stuff hidden under this is kind of torn and damaged as well. Okay, I finally have the cover off the top of the new seat, so it looks in very good condition. The headrest was difficult to get off, but now I know how to get off. The other one shouldn't be a problem. I think I probably will have to unpick the vinyl off the fabric and re-sew it onto the vinyl of that seat, because that hole is too big, really. It's quite obvious from the other side, and there's also these holes here where the kind of controls are for the 3-door mechanism. So I think, yeah, to do a proper job, I need to get my sewing machine out. Okay, so I've managed to split the 5-door seat now, the original one from my car, but the 5-door seat is constructed slightly differently. So the 3-door one, the adjusting mechanism is kind of outside the fabric, but on the 5-door, it's inside the fabric. And it's kind of hard to, so this is the bottom of the seat. This side where it actually goes, where that mechanism actually slots in, is kind of destroyed because the fabric is so bad. It's been torn and stuff. But if you kind of have a look from the other side, you can see that there's like a pocket here, and that's where it would go in on the opposite side. And it's a vinyl kind of backing inside the pocket, so that you can screw in the seat mountings, but they're hidden by this kind of pocket of fabric. I don't quite know how to replicate that on the 3-door one, because there's just a corner of vinyl there. Because obviously on a 3-door the mechanism's outside, so they've just put some robust vinyl there so the mechanism can kind of rub against it without damaging the seat. So that is a little bit of a mystery, how I'm going to solve that. Okay, we're getting close to doing a little bit of reassembly, so I think I'm going to attach now the cushion and vinyl and fabric, whatever, to the seat frame of the 5-door seat, so that at least there is one bit of the seat that is kind of complete. So I need to start with these the little hooks there, metal hooks that go through the vinyl. So start with those, and then I'm going to replace the hog rings that are all around the edge with some cable ties, because they're a billion times easier to use. I have a hog ring tool, and I tried it when I was reupholstering before, and it's just hideous. I can't get it ever in the right place and get it to click properly. Just awful. Cable ties all the way. I'm trying to use as many of the existing holes as I can. The 3 middle ones work, but the 2 end ones are out of sync compared to the DAF 66 or Volvo 66 seat. So I'm going to have to make new holes. And just the last one to do, just here. I'm just following the same holes as the old hog rings, which is much easier to do when I'm not holding a phone. Okay, that's the all the cable ties in place. Obviously I'll trim the ends off so that they're almost invisible. I've left that corner undone at the moment because that is where the upper seat, the back mount, will go. So I'm thinking that it will slot in there somehow and I can get this vinyl covering it. I'll figure it out when I'm getting around to that. I'm just taking apart the old seat from my car. This is the top, or the back of it. The headrest's hiding under there. So I've managed to snip the hog rings off the bottom, slide the cover up to reveal these are the headrest mounts, which kind of have to be unclicked out of the way and the headrest pulled out. I'll do that in a second. And then there's also the fabric is kind of clipped in to the frame at this top level here as well. I think it's to keep it taut about 3/4 of the way up and give it some shape, so I just need to unclip these hog rings as well. Okay, old cover off. This is now the kind of naked foam, and you can really see why it's being replaced. It is absolutely just dead because of 40 odd years of daily driving. It also had the heated seat element in place here, which is it's kind of a plastic frame with wires going along it, and the plastic eventually kind of digs into this, cuts through the fabric, and that's why it kind of destroyed the seat so much. So I think that is going to be junk, and I'll replace it with the nicer one off the Volvo 66 seat. So of course the two foams are slightly different. This is a 3-door seat that I want to use. It's got the cutout there for the 3-door mechanism, and then the 5-door seat has more of a corner cut out of it there, as opposed to the 3-door seat, which carries on. Okay, it's a little rough and ready, but there we go. I have carved out this kind of channel. That's the original 5-door, so I've carved this kind of channel here and used the offcuts then to fill in that bit there, which was missing, and that bit there. So I'm just going to get, oh, and also managed to get some inside there. So I think I'm just going to get some contact adhesive or something like that and stick it in place. There it is in place. Maybe that needs a bit more glue, but once it's covered with vinyl, no one should know, hopefully, that there used to be a hole in that foam, or here. Okay, next job is to unpick the fabric from the vinyl on both of the seat backs and swap them over. Right, first bit of sewing job then is to, so this is the old cover, so I'll take the old one apart first. I have my trusty unpinning device, and what I need to do is undo this seam here between the vinyl and the cloth. So wish me luck. They actually used black thread, so I was expecting to have to use brown, but actually black, which is good because I've got way more black than I have brown. I should just repeat until I work it all the way around. Just in the middle of unpicking this seat, and this is the original seat from the car, you can really see how much the fabric has faded so much over the years in the sun. There's the original kind of brown that would have been hidden as part of the seam allowance, and the brown on the seat's kind of gone almost purple over time. And that's why I couldn't mix and match bits of the fabric from one and the other, because the other one really hasn't faded very much. It's so much more brown than this one. Oh, the other thing as well is that you'll see all these little bits of orange kind of foam stuff. And I think that would have been like a foam that was glued between the outer fabric and this kind of backing. Not a lot I can do about that because I don't have any, it doesn't exist. It's completely disintegrated. I think it'll be all right though. Okay, I have set my stitch length to 5mm because I've measured, and that's what the existing stitching is on the vinyl. So I'm hoping to reuse the same holes if I'm really careful. Also got my walking foot on there because I think that'll help keep all the layers together. Now, it's really going to be difficult for me to pin this together because the vinyl is so hard and inflexible, and it will kind of bend too much if I try and put a pin in it. So I think I'm going to try doing it without pinning and just keep it all together really tightly. And I'm going to start in the middle on the back here because there's a little kind of arrow in the very center on the vinyl, and there's a corresponding, I don't know whether you can see it, but there's a corresponding nick there in the fabric to show that that's where it should line up. So if I line up the middle back and start from there going both directions, then it means that it should be even. If I start on one side and work my way round, the risk is because the fabric could have sagged a little bit over the years that I end up being off center and then it would look awful. So start there. Okay, wish me luck. Okay, let's have a look. Kind of just turn it inside out a little bit and just have a look and see how it's looking. I think that's pretty good. It looks like the stitching is pretty much exactly bang on the line where the original holes in the vinyl were. So I think I'm on the right track. So I shall carry on. Okay, we're past the corner now, so it is just now a case of sewing straight down. This is the side, all the way down the side. Okay, this is one half of it done, and I'm pretty happy with that. I think I've managed to catch stitching at pretty much the right place the whole way round. You can see what I mean about the stretching. This fabric and that should be about the same, but there's about 1 centimetre has kind of grown on this fabric because it's sagged so much over the years, which is why I didn't start with those dead on, because it wouldn't have lined up in the top and the middle and it would have looked horrendous. Okay, this is the second half done, and I'm pretty happy with where my stitching line has ended up. Just a couple of little deviations, but generally they are right bang on the line where the old stitches were. So let's see if I can get it on, see what it looks like. Okay, that is now in place. I think it's looking pretty good. Vinyl, fabric all nicely meeting up. So you need to put the headrest on through those holes and then close it up at the bottom, which will then make it nice and taut like that. Right, that is the top fully assembled with the new fabric. That is the bottom. Let's just join them up together. One assembled seat. Final crowning little glory is the middle of the knob. There, done. You'll see what I managed to do on this side was just, there was a tear already in the vinyl there for the 3-door mechanism, so I've just tore it a little bit more up with some scissors, so that the metal 5-door mechanism can slit inside there, and then I put that flap over after I fitted the 5-door mechanism, so I kind of tucked it under afterwards. So I think that's about as tidy as I can get it. Also, the bits where I put extra foam here and down here all seem fine. They don't seem misshapen in any way. So yeah, I think we've cracked it. So let's get it into the car. And just to show you, there is an inordinate amount of orange disintegrated foam that has come out of this seat. It's absolutely disgusting. I've been breathing that probably, so I might even have to go for a shower after this. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are after all this hard work. I now have a new driver's seat that doesn't have holes in it. Okay, there is a little bit of a colour difference between it and the other seat, simply because of fading. This seat that had clearly been in storage just hasn't faded as much as the seats that are already in the car, but I mean, it's a lot better than a hole, and you probably wouldn't really notice it unless you are specifically looking. And the view from the passenger side, you can see the passenger one is actually in reasonably good condition. It's just the fading is the only issue. I suspect that after a few months of being exposed to some UV, the driver's one might fade a little bit anyway. Let's go see how comfortable it is. Well, it's very comfortable, to be honest. The old seat was really saggy and had kind of collapsed a little bit, I think. This seems really firm and supportive, which is fantastic. Yeah, I can't wait to go and take it for a little drive and see what it's like to actually now have a proper seat that has got the support and hasn't got bits of plastic digging into my back. Woo! I hope you enjoyed this video. It's probably been a little bit tedious because it's mainly been me kind of taking things apart and sewing, but anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the final results. So yeah, catch you soon in another video. Bye.